Hello there, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Rumble, wherever you guys are going to be watching this. I just figured while I'm on my way home from running some errands and the wife is driving, I can sit here and give my reaction to East vs. West 5. Now, it's a reaction video, so use some common sense. There's going to be spoilers. So you have about 10 seconds before I get into this, and yeah, there's going to be spoilers. So don't bitch at me in the comment section saying, "Ah, you spoiled it." Kind of should have known that from a reaction video. But anyway, I'm only going to be commenting on the East vs. West matches because there were a few East vs. East matches, and I mean, sure, they're important, and one of them was for the left-handed Open Championship. It's just I'm commenting on the East vs. West. Anyway, all right, get things started off with Ryan Bowen versus Zurab Tabrizi. If I screw up any of these names, forgive me. I'm American. Anyway, it went the way a lot of us figured it was going to go. I'm a big fan of Ryan's, and I don't mind saying it. I think Ryan's a great puller. I think that he's an even better businessman. We hear so many times that his mouth has the ability to get him into these matches, but he was offered this match. He didn't walk into this match. He didn't ask for Zurab. He was offered this match, and he'd be stupid not to accept it. So kudos to him for having the cojones to step up to this match. And yeah, I mean, he had some promise in there. Zurab said that, he gave him his wrist. I don't know. It looked like Ryan genuinely took his wrist a couple of times. But yeah, for the most part, it was a really, really overpowering display by Zurab, 3-0. Ryan did break out into a beautiful King's move. Yes, I know some people were like, beautiful King's move, what the hell? Yeah, no, beautiful King's move at the end. Shoulder above the table, looked to be effective. Definitely slowed Zurab down. So look to that to be a weapon in the future for him. And yeah, if you hear my daughter in the background, she's in the back seat. We'll try to keep her as quiet as possible. The next one, and that was obviously an East victory. The next one that we'd like to talk about is Adam Warzone Warzinski versus Bojidar, I think it's Zomanov. Man, oh man, what a dominant display. I mean, what an absolute dominant display. I think a new term, at least for me, has been coined, the stare and dare. Adam just stared at the camera, the crowd, his opponent. I dare you to try to move my arm. It was incredible. This guy's from the Carolinas, and I'm from North Carolina, so I give him all the credit in the world, and I'm pulling for him. Obviously, he's from America, so I got his back no matter what. But my God, what a brutal display of dominance. It was incredible. Hats off to him, 3-0. Bojidar was never in the match. Ever. He was never in the match. So that was obviously a win for the West. Let's see. Justin Bishop versus Mindaugas Teresitis. That one is so close. What it came down to was, first of all, they're both brilliant pullers. Both of them. And the strength gap was nil. It was who got the right spot first on each match. Mindaugas just happened to be better at manipulating the referees, and that's fine. That's not an excuse. He was just better at playing the game that day than Justin. Hats off to Justin, the Bama Bull. Fantastic pulling from Mindaugas and Justin. I was highly impressed, and that match was 3-2 for Mindaugas, and like I said, it was just the ability to manipulate the refs better than Justin. Hats off to him. It was a great job. Next was Paul Lynn versus Irakli. This one I could screw up. I think it's Gumanitenatsi. Sorry if I screwed that up. I'm sure I did. But anyway, not the Irakli that we're used to hearing about. Another Irakli, also a badass. And Paul Lynn put on a show. Very dominant performance. Irakli really never looked like he was in the match. He got him on go every time. And even Paul said that. He got me on go every time. He was faster than me. But Paul was able to catch the hit and drive through him. It was absolutely beautiful. Hats off to Paul Lynn, 3-0. The White Orc, as they call him. Absolutely amazing. I got the privilege of being a guest interviewer for him about a year ago. I got to interview him on his upcoming match with John Brzenk. And he, John just got the better of him that day. But yeah, he's such a humble guy, very respectful to even amateur pullers. It was great. It was great to see. Love the guy. Awesome dude. Let's see. The next one was the GOAT. It was the GOAT himself pulling against Oleg Petrenko. And Oleg, I got to tell you, looking at Oleg, I was like, man, I don't know. 58-year-old John Brzenk. I love John. But I'm looking at Oleg going, oh my God, this guy's a tank. I love to see this new version of the GOAT. I really do. Because obviously I wasn't around to see him, and I didn't really know about the sport that much. When he was in his prime, that's just the way it is, right? That's facts of life. But now, sure, he's not as dominant as he used to be, but we're talking about a 58-year-old man that has been dominant in one way or another for over 40 years in this sport. And he, once again, is, I would say, number 2 or even number 1, because he was sick when he pulled, what the hell's his name? Ungarbayev. And he still dominated him round 1. It was just his stamina that gave out. But anyway, I would say he's in the discussion for at least the top 3 of his weight class in the world now at 58 years old. And he put on a display yesterday. Every single time it was a beautiful hook initiation by Oleg or a press. And John cocked up with that low hand top roll and just pronated through him. It was so beautiful. And to hear him trash talk, it's John Brzenk. He's looking at him going, you're mine. I was like, yeah, boy, get some. Just absolutely destroyed him. It was a beautiful display. And he would always finish it. He finished in a press, I think 2 out of 3 rounds himself. So it was absolutely beautiful. A great display of arm wrestling prowess. Really was. That was obviously a win for the West. You good? Okay. Then we had Cobra Rhodes versus, oh my God. His last name is Gildeal. I don't remember I think it's Hayden Gildeal, Turkish legend, basically. So we had an American legend that has won on international level against basically a Turkish hero. And let me tell you, this Turk was ready to go. Cobra's just on his way back in. Like, he just started, right? And I'm not making excuses for the man. He looked good out of the straps. He definitely had the better hand. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But Gildeal was able to peel out, get in the straps, and then it was all horsepower. It was all horsepower. Cobra was never in the game after that. Hats off to both of them. Big balls. Good job. But, yeah, obviously the Turk had it. And 3-0 to Gildeal. So, obviously, that was an East victory. Matt Mask versus Sandra Sadis. This one was tough to watch. I'm a big fan of Matt. I like Matt a lot. Matt brings energy to the table. He's Devin's little brother. I'm American, but I tell you what, those 2 Canadians I root for every time. I love Matt Mask. I love Devin Larratt. We'll get into Devin's match in a second. Man, I tell you, Matt Mask brought, everything he could, but on the night of, he said it to Devin, he said it to John. He goes, I don't know what's going on. I can't get connected. He didn't feel connected. Now, I don't know if that just speaks volumes to Sandras and how good he is, or it was something going on with Matt. I have no idea. But either way, he wasn't able to get, his power down, and Sandras made him look foolish, honestly. And I hate to say that, it was painful to watch. Sandras at one time was repping his wrist flexion against Matt's low hand top roll. And Matt's low hand top roll is deadly. And he was just repping it. like no problem. So obviously that was a win for the East. Sandra Sadis is from Latvia, I believe. So yeah, Coach Ray was in his corner, just loving life. So obviously that was a win for the East, 3-0 Sandras. Now, this one I'm going to kind of discuss a little bit more than the others, because this one I think I add a bit of a unique perspective that most arm wrestlers are just not understanding about this match. I've spent most of my life around military or security or, those type of people, right? And Devin Larratt, for those of you who don't know, spent 21 years in the Canadian Special Forces. He did 11 tours in Afghanistan. 11. I think on some of his videos, he describes some of the things that he's gone through. But I'm pretty sure he's been stabbed, shot, and blown up. I'm pretty sure. And the man has most assuredly stared death in the face quite a few times. And he's still here to talk about it. So it should tell you about his character. It should tell you about his fortitude, his intestinal fortitude. And it also should tell you, and people like Prudnik, that he has some balls. In the press conference, it looked like Devin, to me, got slightly offended because Prudnik kept talking about balls, that he had none. And Devin turned around and said, how old are you? And he said 35. Because at 35 years old, I remember where I was. And he said, you know what, I'm not going to go into it, I'm not going to talk about it, but I remember where I was. It's funny that you should talk about having balls. I mean, guys, he was fighting for freedom. He was fighting a war, okay? And Prudnik is going to question whether or not he has balls. So then you get into the antics of Prudnik lifting him up. And I don't think Devin minded being lifted up. But then Prudnik basically started helicoptering him. I think Devin had a problem with that. And for those of you who don't know, aside from being a Tier 1 special operator, Devin also takes Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Now, I'm not claiming that he's a black belt or anything. I think he's still a white belt, as a matter of fact. But he's actively in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And as soon as he basically was over it, Devin sunk a guillotine choke on Prudnik. And, Prudnik's face turned bright red. And he reached for Devin's arm to get it off his throat. And, it got real serious real quick. But, of course, it was done in such a way that it was very professional and done over with really quick. But I'm telling you right now, if Devin had arched his back just a little bit, and actually squeezed, Prudnik would have been asleep, if not worse, at Devin's will. So, I think Prudnik actually realized that because, he tapped out afterwards. I think he realized that he pissed Devin off. And I don't know if that played into his mindset going into the match. I don't. But, fast forward to the match. Round one, there was a lot of jostling going around. And, I heard a lot of people talk about Jody Larratt screaming, about the elbow and all that. Well, you know what? If Prudnik didn't have his elbow flying up in the air the entire time, and don't give me this bullshit that Devin was lifting him off the pad. I'm sure there was some of that happening, but I saw Prudnik load up, and Devin was happy to hold him. So Prudnik was basically trying to get everything he could, and then as soon as he didn't feel comfortable, which I don't know if you've ever gripped up with Devin, but I have, you're not going to feel comfortable. As soon as he didn't feel comfortable, he sat there and lifted his elbow and tried to get more and more and more. So yeah, there was quite a bit of emotion. Jody was yelling about the elbow, and she was dead right. Of course they're both going to play the game. But you know what? Here's another little perspective for you that most people are forgetting. Prudnik made it very, 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 very public that Devin couldn't pull the same bullshit that he pulls on everybody else because Prudnik knows his tricks. I'm going to turn on this light. Is that going to bother you? Yeah, I'll do it this way. Sorry, guys. I'll make this last part quick, or as quick as I can. So Prudnik made it very, very public that, there was no way that Devin was going to pull the bullshit that he pulls on other people with him. He knew his tricks better than anybody else. But during the match, you know what I mean? Like, he acted like he was the victim. They both were playing the game. Devin happened to be better at it and called Prudnik out on his bullshit and was very effective at it. Also, you know, I hear people talking about the rule set. The rule set was the same for everybody. It was loose, and I mean really loose, but that's the way Engen wanted it. Devin didn't get a special set of rules for him and Prudnik. Devin didn't have any say in the rules whatsoever. Everybody pulled underneath the same rule set, and if you watch the rules the entire night, they were very loosely applied all night long. It's not like Devin got a special, special pass by the referees. So, yeah, no, absolutely not. Let me dispel that bullshit right now. Round one happens. It's questionable. I'm even saying that it might have been a pin. Out of the straps, Prudnik exploded. Devin, reacted. I want to say it was a false start, but whatever. Devin reacted, wasn't quick enough. I think he might have been just under the pad, but here's what matters. Prudnik never asked for a replay. He never protested it, and Devin went back up to the table, and the refs just called it a foul. So there's that. Or I'm sorry, called it a slip for straps. So there's that. In the end, if Prudnik really thought it was a pin, then he should have protested, and maybe he would have got it, maybe he wouldn't, but at least it would have shown that he had heart in that. Anyway, I will say that I give him a lot of respect for not protesting it, because he stepped back up to the table like a warrior and said, let's do it. Well, then they get in the straps, and Devin had to go to his king's move for the first round. I mean, nobody doubted that Prudnik was strong, not even Devin. So Prudnik exploded on him, and Devin was able to stop him, with his pronated king's move. Shoulder above the table for the most part. Actually, shoulder above the table the entire time. He did get into a violation because his humerus was slightly at a decline for about 5 seconds, and the refs finally called a foul on him. So it is what it is. He got a foul. They restarted it, and it was all over but the crying at that point. Devin held him center table, announced that he had him, went into a hook with him. All of you naysayers and haters out there that said Devin couldn't go arm to arm with Prudnik. He did. And then pressed him down for the win. Let's see. I don't remember exactly how he won every time, but I know that he went into a hook and a press on just about every match. Round 3, he went into this weird, because Prudnik was doing this weird kickback where it wouldn't allow him to get hooked. So Devin went flat palm basically against him. Obviously, he had a ton of back pressure and pronation on him, but flat palm basically, flat hand, and just did a side pressure press down to the pad. It was honestly very impressive, and I know it gassed the hell out of him, but it was honestly very impressive that it was just side pressure, really, that brought him down to the pad. He didn't have his hand at the time. It was honestly a beautiful display. So, hey, at that point, hats off to Devin. He's the new heavyweight world champ. I also hear people saying heavyweight at 253. That's super heavyweight. Look, again, this is Engen's promotion, right? And Engen turned around and said 253 was the heavyweight division for East versus West. And Prudnik was the heavyweight champion for East versus West. Now Devin is. So, that it is what it is. 253 was the weight. Devin made weight. Prudnik made weight. Devin beat Prudnik. Devin is now the champion. Done. You don't like it? Take it up with Engen Terzi. You can't blame Devin for the rule set or the promotion or anything outside of his control that he pulled under. But yet I see so many idiots from behind their keyboards doing just that. You're idiots. What was the other one? Oh, and then I see Prudnik sitting there and blaming the ref script and the rule set for his loss. You signed the contract, Bubba. You'll watch the whole night of them applying the rules the same way. And as far as the ref script, you played more games than Devin did. And you got caught out, and Devin was still better at the game than you, and he beat your ass in a top roller press and a hook. You got outclassed. Period.
And the size of the pads.
Oh, yeah, and then he said the 1 centimeter size of the pads, which, by the way, it was 1 centimeter all the way around, all 4 sides. Was a big part because Devin got to drag back further. Well, that also means that you got to go 1 centimeter forward, like more forward. So if Devin got to drag back, you got to go forward that same exact dimension. The only problem that I ever had with WAL was the fact that they went 2 inches back, but they didn't go any forward. So for the guys that did have short arms or that wanted to press, it was a disadvantage to them. But this was 1 centimeter all the way around. So there is no disadvantage. One guy could go 1 centimeter further back, but the other guy could go 1 centimeter further forward. Guys, please. We need to be an educated audience when we're watching this stuff. Okay, there's too many low information everything out there these days. Let's stop. Let's actually get educated. Let's use our brains. Devin won 3-0. Devin is the new heavyweight champion of the world for East versus West. Devin is a 47 or 48-year-old, as he would say, old, broken, old man, and yet he just kicked the shit out of one of the best pullers on the planet, who happens to be European, who happens to have been beat in a hook and a press. It's amazing. Devin kind of put a whole lot of bullshit to bed in one night. You guys have a good one. Devin Larratt, you're my hero in so many ways, brother. Keep pulling. Talk to you guys later.